Hello everybody, this is Fergus Reeve from ERA Heavener Realty. Today I'm going to be talking to you about some of the concerns regarding listing your property that you need to consider when you're selling your home. In particular, the price at which you list the house for and the difference between list price and sale price. For this example, I've got a whiteboard behind me and I'm going to move out the way so you can see it in a minute. But for this example, we're going to use the neighborhood of Knockerty. This is the reason I'm using this neighborhood is so that we could compare a number of houses that are all relatively similar in terms of geographic location, the schools that they go to, how desirable they are. They are all within a similar community. In fact, Knockerty is the 5th fastest selling neighborhood within the whole of America. So every property listed on this board you could count as very desirable. So bear that in mind, and we'll talk about that again later on. So we're going to compare a couple of properties. We're going to look at the price that they were listed at and then what they subsequently sold for and what the difference in list and sale price was and how long they were on the market for before they sold at that price. So I'm going to move out the way and we're going to look at a couple of the properties I have featured on this board, and I will explain them further to you. Okay, so hopefully you can see the board. I'm actually filming this outside in my backyard so that you don't have any light reflecting on it, but if you want to see any of the numbers in clearer focus you might actually have to pause the video and then zoom in. But we'll just go over what we have here. So I have a list of 14 properties. In the red we have 10 that have been sold, and at the bottom we have 4 in green which are still active. All 14 of these properties are either active or were sold in Knockerty in the last 12 months, so all relatively recent. I have tried to pick a range of prices from the high 200s up to the mid 1 millions, 1.4 million being the highest. So I did manually select some of these properties based on price and location, but then after that I did try and randomly pick within those parameters. So I wasn't just trying to pick properties that illustrated my point here. So you'll have to trust me that I did try and do this fairly randomly. So what I've done is I've listed the 10 sold properties followed by the 4 currently active properties. On the left hand side we have the price it was listed at. Then we have the price it was sold at, or in case of the active properties, what it is currently listed at today. Then we show MOM, which is months on market, so the number of months at which it took to sell the house. Then we have percentage drop, which is the percentage value, the difference between list price and sales price. So for example, example 1 was listed at $350, sold for $310, was on the market for 9 months, dropped by $40,000 to its sale price, which is a total drop of 11%. And we can see that for each of the properties here. So what I want you to look at is the price that the house was listed at, the price it was sold at, how long it was on the market, and what the price drop was. And if we do that, we can see that there is a very solid correlation between houses that had large drops in price sitting on the market for longer. To me, this would indicate that they were overpriced in the first place, and that is why they did not sell in a short period of time, especially in Knockerty. As I said, Knockerty is the 5th fastest selling community in the whole of America. So if you cannot sell a property in Knockerty, that generally will indicate it is overpriced because people want to buy there. Starting at the top, we have an 11% drop in price, 7, 5, another 5, 2 properties at 2% drop each, then 2 1%, then 2 0%. So we go from a significant drop in price, 11%, $40,000 was taken off the $350,000 list price to the $310,000 agreed sale price, and it took them 9 months to sell that property. 9 months before they could get a sale. Property number 2 on the list, again listed at 350, sold for 326,000. That's a drop of 7%, $24,000, and that took 13 months, over a year to sell. So we keep on going. There's 5%, 5%. They took 4 and 5 months to sell each. Then you get down to only a 2% drop, then a 1% and a 0% drop. And the clear thing that you can see here, these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 properties that had a small drop in price, so 2% or less, they took 2 months or less to sell. The houses that had a 5% or greater drop in price, they took 4 months or more, up to 13 months. And as I say, these are just 10 random properties that I picked out from Knockaty. I'm sure if I looked around, I could find more that furthered this case. But my point from this is that properties that are listed at what you would assume is the correct and a competitive price, they sell for that price in a short space of time. Properties that are in theory overpriced, I have not seen all of these properties in person, so I cannot confirm that they were overpriced. This is not a criticism of the realtor who listed them or the homeowner who sold them. I am purely speculating based on how long it took to sell the house in what is a hot neighborhood, that if you are overpricing the property, you risk having a long time on the market, and then at the end of it, you have a large price drop. So not only are you making it harder for yourself to move house into your next home, but you have extended costs in that period of time. And typically what a buyer will say to me if I'm showing them a house that has been on the market for more than 2 months, the first thing they ask is, what is wrong with this home? And that is typical of, I hear this from realtors all the time. What is wrong with this home? If it's taking more than 2 to 3 months to sell a property, the assumption is something is wrong. So we want to focus on these 6 properties here and why they sold quickly, and 9 times out of 10 it's because price is king. They were listed at the correct price and they sold at a price very similar to what they were listed, and they sold quickly. So if we look at the 4 properties that are still active, that range from 299,000 up to 1.4 million, these are all, again, all still within Knockaty, all still within a hot neighborhood. So I should highlight yet again, not criticizing the realtor. I have not seen these properties in person, but you would assume that these properties are overpriced, and that is why they have not sold, because even the lower priced one at 299,000 has been on the market for 25 months, over 2 years, and in that time has only come down $3,000. So you can only take from that it is priced wrong, because houses of the exact same value are selling in a month within Knockaty, within a couple of miles geographical location. So what I want you to take away from this is, if you're selling your property, even if you have a desirable house in a desirable community, be very careful of overpricing your house to try and get an extra few bucks. When you engage your realtor, they will give you a CMA, a comparative market analysis of your house. They should be able to give you a pretty accurate estimate of what your home is worth at the current market value, and they should explain to you very clearly how they came at that number. And if you trust your realtor and you feel that they have done a good job, you really want to take on board that number that they have given you, and not fall into the trap of thinking, oh, let's just add an extra few thousand on top of that price and see what we get. Because as this board shows, if you overprice your property, you are running the significant risk of putting buyers off and your property lying on the market for a considerable length of time. So accurate pricing is absolutely crucial. Cannot stress this enough. That there is one price, and that is the right price. If you list your house at the right price, it will sell. Of that I am personally and professionally certain that every house listed at its correct value, at an attractive price to buyers, it will sell. Of course, there will always be exceptions to the rule, exceptions that prove the rule. Houses that are vastly overpriced and yet still sell, houses that are priced correctly and do not sell. Often this will happen with high-end properties. For example, this $1.4 million home, it may well be accurately priced, but if you think of the number of people who can afford that home, the number is very, very small. So that in itself is a very limiting factor. Even though it may be accurately priced, they're still going to have a hard time selling a house of that value. So in summary, I just want to hammer home the point that a well-listed property, a property that is listed accurately at the correct price, is far more likely to sell quickly, which allows you to receive that money and move forwards. Overpricing, whilst it may be attractive to you to try and get those extra $1,000, carries dangers of its own, and you really need to be aware of them and discuss these factors with your realtor before listing your property. So I hope this was at least moderately interesting, or if nothing else informative. There are clear lines to be drawn between list price, sale price and days on the market, and these are factors that you need to consider when listing your house, and the consequences that these factors will have on you as a family when you're trying to move. And this is a discussion that you should be having with your realtor. So thank you very much for watching, appreciate your time. This is Fergus Reeve from ERA Heavener Realty, and I look forward to next time. Take care and have a good week. Bye bye.